If you've ever felt like you're drowning in a sea of new AI tools, you are definitely not alone. But it turns out the sheer number of options has actually created a brand new, kind of hidden challenge. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that problem and explore the really clever solution built to fix it.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we need to understand the problem that kicked this whole thing off. Then we'll meet the solution, a platform called RouterArena, and see exactly how it works. After that, we're diving into the leaderboard results, and they're pretty surprising. And finally, we'll talk about why any of this actually matters for the future of AI.
It really wasn't that long ago that the big challenge was just trying to keep up with the flood of new AI models. But the game has totally changed. Now we've got hundreds of them, and that's created a new, much more complex problem.
I mean, think about it. You've got this huge spectrum of AI models. Some are incredibly powerful, but super expensive to run. Others are way faster and cheaper, but maybe not as smart. So for any given task, how in the world do you pick the right one without just, guessing or breaking the bank? Well, the solution seemed obvious, right? Enter the LLM router. It's basically a smart traffic controller for AI. You send it a request, and it automatically figures out the best model for the job, balancing performance with cost. Problem solved. Or was it? Turns out a brand new problem was waiting right around the corner. And then things just exploded. Just look at this timeline. We went from just a handful of academic routers in mid-2023 to dozens of commercial products hitting the market just a year later. Suddenly, the problem wasn't about picking the right AI model anymore. It was about picking the right router.
So, to tackle this brand new problem on top of a problem, researchers at Rice University came up with something called RouterArena. It's the first open platform designed for a fair, head-to-head, comprehensive comparison of all these different routers. Seriously, think of it like the Olympics for AI routers. It's a standardized playing field with a public leaderboard, so we can finally cut through the marketing hype and see which ones actually perform under pressure.
So how do you even make a fair competition for something this complex? Well, RouterArena is built on 3 key pillars that make it all work.
First off, it uses a super diverse dataset with over 8,000 different queries. As you can see, these questions cover a whole range of difficulty levels. We're talking everything from simple recall to complex reasoning, often classified using frameworks like Bloom's taxonomy. It's like a really tough obstacle course designed to test every single skill a router could possibly have.
Second, the judging is incredibly thorough. This isn't just about speed or getting the right answer. RouterArena measures everything. Accuracy, of course, but also cost, optimality, which is, did it pick the cheapest model that could still get the job done right? How robust it is, and even how long it takes to make a decision, or latency. And the third pillar is that the whole thing is automated. It's like a live scoreboard that's constantly updating. This means anyone, whether you're a university researcher or a big tech company, can submit their new router and see exactly how it stacks up against the competition, all in real time. Okay, now for the part you've been waiting for, the main event. What actually happened when these routers were put to the test? The results are, well, they're not what you might expect. So if we look at the main arena score, which is all about balancing accuracy and cost, you can see it's a super tight race at the top. MertBert, which is an academic router, just barely edges out the commercial router from Azure, with another open source project called Carrot coming in a close third. But this is where it gets really interesting. When you look at the full picture across all the rankings, no single router is the best at everything. It's a total trade-off. Take MRTBert, for example. It got first place on that main arena score, but its average rank across all metrics is much lower. On the other hand, look at Azure's router. It's incredibly consistent, snagging second place in both the arena score and latency, giving it a really strong overall performance. It really makes you ask, do you want a specialist or do you want a solid all-rounder? So what does this really tell us? Well, one of the biggest takeaways is that bigger doesn't always mean better. Those big-name commercial routers, like the ones from GPT-5 and Not Diamond, can get you really high accuracy, but they often do it by just throwing the most expensive models at every problem. Meanwhile, open-source alternatives are delivering really competitive performance at a fraction of the cost. So you have to wonder, is that tiny bit of extra accuracy really worth the huge price tag? And this slide just drives that point home big time. This router, NIRTBert, actually ended up spending 4 times more.
That's a 400% premium than it would have if it had just used its best available model for every single query. And what did it get for that massive cost? Only 92% of that top model's accuracy? That is a huge price to pay for a drop in performance, and it just screams inefficiency.
Okay, so we've been deep in the technical weeds here, but why should any of us really care about this router showdown? What's the big picture? Well, the conclusion from the researchers themselves is crystal clear. Even the best routers we have today are pretty inefficient. They're just not that great at recognizing when a cheaper, smaller model is perfectly capable of handling a question. Instead, they just default to the big, expensive ones way too often. And that means there's a huge opportunity here to make AI much more efficient and affordable for all of us.
And that leaves us with this one final big thought. As AI models continue to get more and more specialized, the power to route our requests, to be that traffic controller, is going to become absolutely critical. The future of routing will literally shape the cost, the speed, and the accuracy of our entire digital world. The real question is, who's going to be in control?